everyone. Today I want to talk about something that can change the way we live, make decisions, and even build our future, our money mindset. Clarity is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to building a strong money mindset. Many people struggle with finances not because they don't earn enough, but because they lack clarity on how their money is moving in and out of their lives. Money is like energy. It flows, it moves, and it responds to how we direct it. If you don't know where it's going, you can't possibly control it. That is why the first and most essential habit is to build clarity around your financial life, because clarity creates power. Think of it like driving a car on a foggy road. You may know your destination, but if you can only see a few feet ahead, every decision feels risky and uncertain. You drive slower, you hesitate, and you're always tense. The fog is like financial confusion. You may be earning money, but without visibility, every choice feels overwhelming. Clarity, then, is like switching on the high beams. Suddenly you can see further, anticipate what's coming, and make confident choices. The first step to clarity is awareness. You need to know your numbers, not just your salary, but also your expenses, your debts, your savings, and your investments. Most people underestimate how much they spend on small habitual purchases. A coffee here, a subscription there, a dinner out one night. And suddenly, a large portion of income disappears without notice. Writing things down, whether in a notebook or through an app, removes the mystery. The moment you start tracking, you begin to see patterns. And once you see patterns, you gain the power to change them. Clarity also means understanding the difference between needs and wants. Needs are the essentials that sustain your life: housing, food, healthcare. Wants are the extras that bring comfort or pleasure. There's nothing wrong with wants, but without clarity, they often masquerade as needs and drain resources that could be directed toward long-term goals. By shining a light on what truly matters to you, clarity helps you align your spending with your values. You stop living on autopilot and start making conscious financial decisions. Another aspect of clarity is setting financial goals. Without goals, money will always slip through your fingers because there's nothing for it to be directed toward. Clarity means asking yourself, what do I want money to do for me? Do I want freedom to travel, a home of my own, a safety net in emergencies, or a retirement without stress? Goals give your money a purpose, and when money has a purpose, it flows with intention. Clarity also eliminates unnecessary stress. Many people live with a low-level anxiety about money simply because they don't know their true situation. They assume things are worse than they are, or they avoid looking at their statements out of fear. But ironically, the act of not looking often makes things worse. Once you confront the numbers, even if they reveal debt or overspending, you feel more in control. That sense of control reduces fear and builds confidence. Problems that felt overwhelming suddenly look manageable because clarity breaks them into smaller steps you can tackle one at a time. Finally, clarity creates empowerment. When you understand your financial reality, you become less vulnerable to impulse decisions, quick fix schemes, or bad advice. You know where you stand, and that allows you to evaluate opportunities with wisdom. Instead of reacting emotionally to money, you start to respond strategically. That shift from reaction to strategy is where true financial power begins. In the end, clarity is not just about numbers, it's about peace of mind. It's the foundation for every other only habit you want to build. When you know exactly where you are, you can plot a path to where you want to be. Clarity creates confidence, confidence creates action, and action creates results. That paying yourself first is one of the simplest yet most transformative money habits you can ever adopt. The idea is straightforward. Before you pay bills, buy groceries, or spend on anything else, you set aside a portion of your income for yourself. At first, this might sound selfish or even impractical, but in reality, it is one of the most responsible and empowering things you can do with your money. When you pay yourself first, you prioritize your future over your impulses. You shift from living paycheck to creating a foundation of security and opportunity. Most people live in the opposite way. They earn their money, immediately start paying expenses, cover debts, and then spend on entertainment or wants. Only after all of that do they think about saving, and by then, there is usually nothing left. This creates a cycle of scarcity where saving feels impossible. Paying yourself first flips that cycle on its head. It ensures that saving and investing are no longer optional, but automatic and non-negotiable. It changes the entire way you interact with money. The habit works because it takes advantage of something very human. We adapt to what we have. If you pay yourself first and save, let's say, 10% of your income, You may worry at first that you will not have enough left to cover your expenses, but over time, you naturally adjust your lifestyle to fit within the money that remains. You cut unnecessary spending, you make smarter choices, and you learn to live slightly below your means. Meanwhile, your savings begin to grow quietly in the background. That growth represents more than just money. It represents progress, discipline, and freedom. The reason this principle is so powerful is that it builds wealth in the background of your life. Imagine someone who starts saving even a small amount each month, $50, $100, maybe 5% of their salary. Over the years, this grows into a habit. That money accumulates, earns interest, perhaps gets invested, and eventually snowballs into a powerful financial cushion. The earlier you start, the more profound the effect, because time and compounding magnify your efforts. It's not about saving what's left, it's about creating the habit first, no matter the size of the amount. Paying yourself first also builds confidence. Every time you transfer money into your savings or investment account before paying your bills, you send yourself a message: I matter, my future matters. That small act builds self-respect. You stop feeling like money controls you, and instead, you feel like you are in control of your money. This sense of control reduces financial stress and anxiety. You know that you are consistently building a safety net, and that safety net makes it easier to take risks, pursue opportunities, or weather setbacks. The habit also forces you to think long term. When you regularly pay yourself first, you begin to see money not just as something to spend today, but as a tool to build tomorrow. You stop seeing savings as deprivation and start seeing them as empowerment. You realize that the money you set aside isn't being lost, it's being preserved and multiplied for a purpose. That purpose could be buying a home, starting a business, funding education, traveling the world, or simply creating financial independence. Whatever the purpose is, paying yourself first guarantees you are steadily moving toward it. Of course, paying yourself first does not mean neglecting responsibilities. Bills still need to be paid, debts still need to be addressed. But the mindset shift is crucial. Instead of letting those obligations consume all of your energy and resources, you acknowledge that you are also a priority. By making yourself the first bill you pay each month, you avoid the trap of endlessly postponing your financial future until someday. Because as we all know, someday never comes unless you make it happen. In the end, this habit is not about me. Shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset is one of the most important changes you can make if you want to build a strong and healthy relationship with money. A scarcity mindset is rooted in fear, limitation, and the belief that there is never enough. It makes people say things like, I can't afford this, or money always runs out, or people like me just don't get ahead. Living in this mindset creates stress, jealousy, and short-term thinking. It narrows your vision and keeps you focused only on survival. On the other hand, an abundance mindset is rooted in possibility, growth, and the belief that opportunities and wealth are available if you're willing to learn, adapt, and act. People with an abundance mindset don't ignore challenges, but they look for solutions and possibilities rather than being trapped by fear. The scarcity mindset often begins early in life. If you grew up in a household where money was always tight, or where conversations about money were full of stress and worry, those beliefs can take root deep inside. You may carry those patterns into adulthood without even realizing it. Scarcity thinking makes you cling to what little you have, afraid to take risks, invest, or even treat yourself. It creates a cycle where fear leads to inaction, inaction prevents growth, and the lack of growth reinforces the fear. Breaking that cycle requires consciously choosing to see money differently. An abundance mindset does not mean pretending money grows on trees or ignoring reality. It means focusing on what is possible instead of only what is missing. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, you ask, how can I afford this? That small shift in language sparks creativity. Your brain moves from shutting down possibilities to actively searching for solutions. Abundance thinkers see opportunities to earn more, to invest wisely, to learn new skills, and to create value. They understand that money is not a fixed pie where one person's gain is another's loss, but something that can expand when new ideas, businesses, and opportunities are created. Another part of shifting to abundance is gratitude. People who live with gratitude focus on what they already have rather than what they lack. When you start acknowledging the resources, skills, and opportunities that are already in your life, you stop feeling trapped. Gratitude does not mean you settle for less. It means you build from a foundation of appreciation instead of lack. From that perspective, every improvement feels like progress rather than a desperate attempt to escape scarcity. Adopting abundance also changes how you approach giving. Scarcity makes you hold tightly to money, afraid that generosity will leave you with nothing. Abundance, however, allows you to give freely, whether that's money, time, or knowledge, because you trust that giving creates connection, goodwill, and even new opportunities. Many successful people will tell you that they didn't grow wealth by hoarding everything, but by circulating value, helping others, and trusting that growth would come back to them in different forms. Scarcity makes you avoid risks entirely, but abundance teaches you to take smart risks. Investing in yourself through education, training, or a side business might feel scary if you believe there's not enough to go around. But if you approach money with abundance, you see these investments as seeds that can grow into something bigger. Even small efforts compound over time. When you believe in growth, you are more likely to take the actions that create it. Most importantly, abundance is about mindset, not just money. People with abundance thinking often experience less stress, better relationships, and more fulfillment in life because they focus on possibilities rather than limitations. They understand that wealth is not just measured in dollars, but also in health, knowledge, community, and freedom. When you adopt this mindset, money becomes a tool rather than a Investing in growth rather than just things is one of the most powerful principles for building lasting wealth and a resilient money mindset. Many people fall into the trap of believing that success is measured by the things they own, the car they drive, the clothes they wear, or the gadgets they carry. These items may provide a temporary sense of satisfaction, but that feeling fades quickly, leaving you with more clutter, more expenses, and sometimes even more debt. Real growth, on the other hand, comes from investments that expand your knowledge, skills, and capacity to create value. When you choose to invest in growth, you are planting seeds that continue to yield benefits long after the initial effort. Think about the difference between buying a new phone and buying a course that teaches you a skill. The phone may impress people for a moment, but it depreciates in value the moment you open the box. In contrast, the skill you learn from the course can open doors to higher income, new opportunities, or even an entirely new career. One is temporary and consumable, while the other is lasting and expansive. This is the essence of investing in growth, choosing what will continue to give back instead of what simply drains resources. Growth investments come in many forms. Education is one of the most obvious. Whether it's formal schooling, certifications, or online learning, education builds your capacity to earn and adapt in a constantly changing world. Skills are a form of wealth no one can take from you, and they often appreciate in value over time. A person who is always learning becomes more valuable in the marketplace and more adaptable when circumstances change. While technology and trends may shift, the ability to learn, solve problems, and add value never loses relevance. Personal development is another form of growth investment. Reading books, attending seminars, or working with mentors may not look as impressive as buying something shiny, but the mindset shifts and confidence you gain can transform the way you handle money and opportunities. When you grow as a person, your financial life naturally follows. Your habits change, your decision-making improves, and your ability to recognize opportunities increases. Growth is not just about technical skills, it is also about emotional intelligence, resilience, and the ability to manage yourself in moments of stress or uncertainty. Financial growth also comes through investments that produce returns instead of simply draining resources. Buying stocks, real estate, or starting a side business requires patience and discipline, but these are assets that have the potential to grow and generate income. In contrast, buying material items that depreciate leaves you with less over time. This does not mean you should never enjoy things or reward yourself. It simply means you should prioritize assets that put money back into your life instead of only taking it away. Investing in growth also shifts the way you see money. Instead of spending to escape boredom or impress others, you spend to build capacity. This creates a deeper sense of satisfaction because you know your money is working toward a purpose larger than a fleeting moment of pleasure. Each dollar becomes a building block for your future rather than just a tool for instant gratification. Over time, this mindset compounds. The small choices to invest in books, training, networks, or businesses accumulate into a life of greater freedom and opportunity. Another overlooked area of growth is your network. Relationships are often more valuable than possessions, and investing in meaningful connections can create opportunities money alone cannot buy. Attending events, joining communities, or collaborating with others may not give you something tangible to show off. But the ideas, support, and partnerships that come from strong networks can multiply your opportunities many times over. The truth is that things will always lose their. Automating smart choices is one of the most effective ways to stay consistent with your financial goals and build long-term stability. Human willpower is limited. No matter how motivated or disciplined you feel in the moment, there will always be days when you are tired, distracted, or tempted to spend money impulsively. This is why relying only on discipline often leads to frustration. Automation removes the daily struggle by making important financial decisions happen automatically without relying on constant effort or self-control. When you set up systems that work in the background, you make success the default option. One of the simplest examples of automation is setting up automatic transfers to savings. Instead of waiting to see what is left at the end of the month, you arrange for a portion of your paycheck to go directly into a savings account or investment account. This way, you never see the money as spendable. Over time, even small automatic contributions add up. Because you never have to make the decision each month, you eliminate the risk of forgetting or choosing not to save when temptations arise. The habit happens without effort, and consistency turns into progress. Another smart choice to automate is investing. Many people hesitate to invest because they think they need large sums of money or perfect timing. The truth is that consistent small investments matter more than occasional large ones. Through automation, you can set up recurring contributions to retirement accounts, index funds, or other investments. This practice, often called dollar cost averaging, not only builds wealth over time, but also removes the stress of trying to predict market highs and lows. By investing automatically, you avoid emotional decision-making and let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Automation also works for paying bills and managing debt. Setting up automatic payments for recurring bills ensures that you never miss due dates, avoiding late fees and protecting your credit score. Similarly, automating extra payments toward debt can accelerate repayment without requiring constant attention. For example, even an extra $20 or $50 automatically applied each month to a credit card balance can save significant interest over time. By letting the system handle it, you remove the risk of procrastination and make progress without extra effort. One of the hidden benefits of automating smart choices is that it reduces decision fatigue. Every day we face countless choices about how to spend money, how much to save, or whether to pay extra toward debt. Each choice requires mental energy, and the more decisions we have to make, the more likely we are to give in to convenience or impulse. Automation eliminates the need to make the same decisions repeatedly. You set up the system once, and it continues working for you. This frees up mental energy for more important goals and reduces the stress that often comes with managing money. Automation also protects you from your future self. There will always be moments when you feel like spending instead of saving, or when unexpected expenses tempt you to skip an investment contribution. But if the system is already in place, you are less likely to interrupt it. The money moves where it needs to go before you even notice it, and over time, those consistent small actions become the foundation of financial security. Automating smart choices does not mean ignoring your money. It means designing a system that works for you so that your goals are met without constant struggle. You still review your accounts, adjust your contributions, and monitor progress, but the daily effort is removed. It is like putting your finances on autopilot, allowing you to move steadily toward your goal. Without relying on motivation that may come and go. In the end, automation is not about making life rigid, it is about making it easier. By removing friction, you allow your best financial decision. The people you spend time with shape the way you think, the choices you make, and even the results you achieve in life. This is especially true when it comes to money. Surrounding yourself with money-minded people is not about being with the richest individuals you can find, but about being in the company of those who think wisely about finances, opportunities, and growth. Your environment influences your mindset more than you may realize. If you are constantly surrounded by people who spend recklessly, complain about money, or believe wealth is unattainable, it becomes very difficult to develop a healthy money mindset yourself. On the other hand, when you spend time with people who set goals, invest in themselves, and make thoughtful financial decisions, their habits and attitudes naturally begin to influence you. Human beings are social learners. We pick up behaviors, beliefs, and values from the people around us, often without realizing it. If your circle views debt as normal, overspending as harmless, and living paycheck to paycheck as unavoidable, you are more likely to adopt the same mindset. But if your circle values saving, building assets, and discussing opportunities, you will feel encouraged to think the same way. This is why surrounding yourself with money-minded people is so powerful. It gives you an environment that normalizes growth rather than struggle. Money-minded people do more than just influence your behavior. They expand your perspective. They talk about ideas, opportunities, and strategies that might never cross your mind otherwise. For example, a friend who invests may introduce you to the basics of the stock market. A mentor who runs a business may help you see the potential in a side hustle. A colleague who is disciplined about saving may inspire you to take your own habits more seriously. Exposure to these conversations shifts your thinking from limitations to possibilities. Instead of asking if something is possible, you start asking how to make it possible. Being in the company of money-minded people also makes it easier to stay accountable. Just as going to the gym with a partner helps you stay consistent, surrounding yourself with financially responsible individuals keeps you focused on your goals. You may feel encouraged to share your progress, celebrate milestones, or seek advice when challenges arise. Accountability is powerful because it transforms money management from a private struggle into a shared journey where you have support and encouragement. Another benefit of surrounding yourself with the right people is that it protects you from negative financial influences. Peer pressure does not disappear in adulthood, it just takes different forms. Friends who constantly want to go out, spend on unnecessary luxuries, or make impulsive purchases can pull you into habits that drain your finances. When you are with people who respect budgets and value discipline, you feel less pressure to spend recklessly and more encouragement to make choices aligned with your long-term goals. Building a money-minded network does not always happen naturally. It requires intention. You can seek out communities where financial growth is valued, such as professional groups, investment clubs, personal development seminars, or even online forums where people share advice and experiences. Mentorship is another powerful tool. Finding someone who has achieved the kind of financial stability or independence you aspire to can shorten your learning curve and help you avoid common mistakes. Investing time in these relationships is just as important as investing money, because the guidance and inspiration you receive can multiply your progress. It is also important to note that being around money-minded people is not only about learning from those who are ahead of you. It is also about contributing to others. Sharing your own progress, knowledge, and experiences strengthens your understanding and builds deeper connection